I was listening to someone the other day, and all I could say at the end of our conversation was that is a lot you are carrying. And look, so many worries and thoughts and distractions going around in their head. It was like, as someone described it, a monkey mind. Clattering, noisy monkeys vying for your attention in the cage of your brain. Hi, it's Barry here again from Turning the Page, and just want to say thank you again for listening or watching. And today's topic is about anxiety and worry. And for this person, I had given them room to voice the noise that was going on, and only just a little bit had slipped out. And for many of us, we have become so used to the noise of worry and fear that it seems quite normal. And when someone asks how you are, we would never consider sharing something of that monkey clatter that's going on around the brain. It's just there all the time, in the background, part of the ambient background noise we live in. But I found that all that noise can actually can just wear you down. A kind of fatigue sets in, and worry has its well-worn path into depression. Lao Tzu said that if you're depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. And if you are peace, you are living in the present. Years ago, I listened to a talk by a guy called Tom Sine, who talked about shalom and the Hebrew word for peace. Now, shalom is not just an ending of hostilities, but more so a coming together to a place of wholeness, a completeness of self, where there are no fractures or splinters of distraction. Shalom refers to a sense of harmony, wholeness, completeness, prosperity, wealth, and tranquility. Now, many of us live a long way away from that place of wholeness. Peace and shalom. It's a lovely idea, but it seems just like a distant land for another time. And every now and again we might get tastes of shalom, but they're fleeting, and we're back into that pendulous swing of anxiety and depression back and forth. It's actually interesting to dig into the meaning of the word anxiety in biblical Greek, and the biblical word is for anxiety is mirimma, and that's spelled M-E-R-I-M-M-A. And it means, and if you come over to the blog post, you'll be able to read this. It means apart, separated from the whole, worry, dividing and fracturing a person's being into parts. And we have this picture of one's life that has been a distracted life, and so many parts to them. The image of like one of those entertainers with the multiple spinning plates. A long pole comes to my mind, when we're jumping from pole to pole to pole to pole to pole, just to keep everything spinning. But then a plate starts to wobble and tilt, and we have to rush off to address that particular plate. And so we try and control, and we run from this anxious thought to the next. Well, recently I was watching this young lady ride a horse, and she and the horse were just one. There was a wholeness, and she was a professional rider, and she owned horses, and she just mounted on that horse, and it was beautiful to watch. Before the ride, she went and got her saddle, and with a fluidity of motion, she just cast it up onto that waiting horse. She had done this many, many times. She knew the weight of the saddle and the need to have a rhythm to her movement. And she was quite short, so compared to the horse's height, and it took an incredible amount of effort and focus for her to cast that load up easily onto the horse. And in one of the passages that in the Bible about anxiety and worry, we find Peter, a friend of Jesus, a close friend of Jesus, calling us to cast. And he says in 1 Peter 5 verse 7, it says, "Cast all your anxiety on him, because he cares for you." And that same word cast, eperiteo in Greek, probably I butchered the Greek on that, but it is also found in the story of when followers of Jesus cast their cloaks onto the back of the donkey that Jesus was about to ride. And that's in Luke 19:35, and it says that they brought it to Jesus, the donkey, and they threw or cast their cloaks onto the colt so Jesus could sit on it. Tell me, what's it like to be really cared for? To have someone's genuine, unconditional love directed towards you. This care might be found in a few simple words, such as, how are you? But genuine care goes much deeper into a sense of, I suppose, letting some of the burden of somebody else's life being cast onto you, that you can bear it for a while. To be the object of someone's love and care is, I think, something nearing wholeness or shalom. It means that you're not alone with your monkey mind. How remarkable it is that we are the object of one's care when we consider God. For He cares about you is not simply a nice, warm, fuzzy devotional idea. It makes you, that's nice. It's actually a passionate, active fact that God is caring about you and all the things in your monkey mind that are going around. There is desire in the heart of God for you to come close and to cast that fractured reality that you're living in onto their back. Now look, as I watched this young lady cast her saddle up onto the horse's back, I knew that she had done this many times, and probably as a young rider she would have had a coach show her how to prepare the horse, where to hold the saddle, where to place her feet, how to swing it appropriately, and it just came naturally to her body now. She could do it probably blindfolded. And you see, there is a rhythm to our casting our cares upon the Lord. It's a spiritual practice thing of noticing, recording, and casting. The first thing is to notice what are the anxious paths that you are regularly taking. You may not even see them as places of worry because they are so familiar to you. The little things are worry because they're little things that just seem to worry you. Just little tiny things you might fret over. You start to notice them and check them out from a sense of wholeness and shalom. The next thing is to record them. Write them down in a journal, and getting these worries out of the brain and onto a piece of paper, it's actually quite a pragmatic and tangible thing that the brain needs. It's like it's an isolating of the monkey apart from the noise of the monkeys. It's saying this, different things. And this recording can be the very first step towards problem solving some of those anxieties. And the third thing is casting. We have noticed, we have recorded, and now we can cast them. Casting involves the asking of God to carry the weight for you, to throw the worries as such onto the back of a giant Clydesdale horse. I love those big horses, they're massive. They can handle anything you throw at them. This is not like an avoidance strategy of shifting responsibility. Oh, I've given it to God. No, he can take care of it now. It's more of a partnership with the eternal, so that the emotional weightiness of the burden can be shared and carried. And this frees up the brain to cognitively think of into a place of space and quiet, where you can cognitively think of solutions and be open to new ideas from God to actually meet some of those anxious places. And perhaps as that Clydesdale God carries that weight, into your brain, maybe some new possibilities and solutions open up to your imagination. So this week, I'd like you to begin to notice the little noises and worries that seem to snipe at your feet, the nervous worries that seem to drive your life. Notice them, write them down, then carefully cast them onto the Clydesdale God that we all have and that cares for you. Here's some quotes for you to consider. Wholeness can never be experienced unless we place ourselves within the larger wholes within which we exist, and wholes meaning WHOLES. That's from David Benner. Spiritual growth begins with easily overlooked disciplines of attentiveness and surrender. David Penner. Eugene Peterson said that we are unfinished creatures, longing, reaching, stretching towards fulfillment. We will express these desires for completion in prayer. Prayer is an openness to God in faith. It is allowing the life of God to flow into and through us. This is the faith that we receive as a gift when we turn in openness and trust to God. David Benner. And Dan Allender says that prayer tills the soil of the soul and unearths the clods of stories that lie beneath the surface. Hey, here's some questions for you might like to answer. What are the little anxieties and worries that steal so much from you? In terms of being open, number 2, in terms of being open to creative solutions, what would happen in you if you could cast the emotional weightiness of your anxieties onto a Clydesdale-sized God? Number 3, list out five anxieties or cares that you have for today. How heavy do they feel? Hey, I hope you found this helpful, and I pray that you may learn to listen to the noise, listen to the anxieties that are sniping at your feet, as I said, and to be able to write them down and to cast them onto the back of loving God. And just thank you for watching or listening, and may you have a good week. Big shout out, a big thank you to people who give a little bit to supporting Turning the Page. It's so important, and it just keeps these things moving along and going. Hey, till next week, have a good week. Okay, bye.